I'm back and I'm going to talk about how you can beat the clock on SAT math in this video. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to improve your time as you get through math and be able to answer more of those questions correctly faster. So if you're interested, then let's go and jump in. First off, make sure you consider how you're going to approach every single problem before trying to solve it. Maybe you can tell by the answer choices or just glancing at the question what type of problem it is, especially if you've done a lot of SAT studying. Even if not, go ahead and read the passage, consider the question, and figure out, do you know exactly how to approach it? If not, it might be best to go ahead and skip that one and then come back later. Answer all the questions you know immediately how to answer right off the bat, because that's going to help you maximize your points and make sure that any of those easy points aren't left undone. Second, as you're going through that first pass through, mark for review any of the problems that you think you know how to answer or are pretty sure you really do know how to answer, but might take you a little bit longer than any of the others. That way it allows you to go through the questions in 3 rounds. First, the questions that you know immediately how to know to answer. Then second, the questions that you think you know how to answer, you have a pretty good bet on. And then third, the questions that you really don't know how to do. So in that third round, you're trying to attempt those questions you have no idea how to solve. Try using a variety of methods. Plug answers back into the problem, plug equations into Desmos. In fact, use Desmos as a time saver for a whole thing. In fact, I have a whole video about using Desmos, so I suggest you check it out up here. You can find other videos also on YouTube. And ultimately, if you have to guess, then you can go ahead and do that. I suggest approaching the problems that are multiple choice first and leaving the blank problems for last, because it's harder to guess, and by working through the problems, you might be able to eliminate certain answers, versus you really can't do that if you have a blank question. So yeah, that's the third tip, is make sure that you answer problems that are multiple choice before you answer problems with blanks. And as I already mentioned, my fourth tip is just use Desmos. Use it. It saves you so much time. Like, I can't even say I had a 640 on my PSAT math and I really didn't use Desmos, and I learned how to use it properly, and then I took the SAT like 6 months later and I improved my score by 80 points. In my opinion, almost completely, just because I used Desmos. So it's pretty powerful. Also, just as a little bit of a tidbit, tip 5, when you're doing SAT math, try to answer the problems at the beginning of each module the quickest, and it's okay if you slow down as you go, because at least in my opinion, these problems are going to be the easiest. Now, if you end up having some harder problems at the beginning of the module, don't freak out. But still, just generally keep that idea in mind, especially as you're on module 2, because people generally run out faster. And like I said in all my other tips, don't be afraid to skip a question if you don't know exactly how to answer it, and come back to it. Even though I got a 780 in the math, I still skipped one of the questions on the math and didn't answer it immediately, in fact. So yeah, those are my 5 tips as a review. Make sure you answer first in your first pass the questions that you know exactly how to answer, and mark for review the questions that you are pretty sure you know how to answer and how to approach. Might take you a little bit more time. It's those in the second pass and the third pass. Make sure that you answer the multiple choice questions before the fill in the blank questions, and utilize Desmos across the whole section. And then 5th, make sure that you spend more time in the module in the second half of each module than on the first half, where the questions are a little bit easier. So yeah, hope that helps. I'm gonna have another video coming out shortly, a part 2, kind of how to beat the clock for SAT reading and writing, so make sure you subscribe so you can get that. But yeah, this is a part of my college applications over the summer, so it helped me pay for college if you engage with my channel. But if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, I'd love for you to leave them in the comments below. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again soon. So thank you guys!